Okay, there's a whole heap of mechanisms. I've cut mine out and I've scored all the lines, which you'll need to do off of the sheet. And then I tend to keep everything together. I've just kept mine in a little plastic bag. Now this is the same as the frog. All we're doing is making up the boxes. So if I can just very quickly recap with you on this one, you'll notice that I've actually used the wooden bark-like effect on this. The lines are a wee bit difficult to see, but you'll be fine. You won't pick them up necessarily very easily on the camera, but cutting them out and scoring them is fine. Now, as ever, there's one larger size, and that's this square in here. So that's just simply going to fold over and glue like that. Again, on your one, there'll be a little glue symbol just to help you denote that's the one that you glue. So these are again part of the shafts which are going to the crankshaft. Again, sounding very technical. So glue onto there, I fold it over, and that just locks in like so to create our pyramid shape. Then with my barbecue stick, I'm going to just hold that in like so. So that now looks like that. And so it's simply a case of just folding it until you get that little square there. So some glue on the end tag there and a little bit of glue on there. Help it stick. Remember, these have to be nice and strong. That goes over, square it all up. A little bit of pressure, help it on its way. And that's it. So I'm going to do exactly the same for the other one, the slightly smaller one here, and create that in the same way. And we've got a drive shaft again here. Let me just have a look and show you this one. The only difference on this, we're going to make that in exactly the same way, except this just folds up in some squares. I'm going to show you, but you will notice, and again it's going to be hard to pick up on the camera, but here, here, here and here are crosses for you to cut through. That's important that you cut through them before you make it. We're going to put some dowel into this. The other thing to notice that these two tabs here, they're sitting free at the moment, and they're there for a reason. Okay, because that's what's going to stick on and attach it to the next part, which we're going to have a look at after this. So flip it over. There's a longer side in there. Again, probably a little bit tricky to see. So some glue onto there, glue onto the bit where it's going, and we just fold over to create a triangle shape like so. And then this will just fold over until we've created that shape like so. And again, a bit of glue on there, hold this all in, square it up and put it down onto there. Take your time with this. You really do want to make sure these are nicely glued. They're under a lot of pressure when they're working, and so they do need to work well. You'll notice then we've got our hole here, and I would let it dry, but you should be able to, when it's dry, just push your stick right the way through. If you do it too soon, you can see it's forcing it apart there. Okay, so that's that mechanism there. Just this one here to show you. Now this is going to slide in and out of this one, so it's a simple square that we're making. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that tab folds on the outside, not the inside. That's to try and give this as much, I'll just pop that there, that gives it as much freedom as possible to allow that shaft to go through. I'm just going to glue that, but you see this one has to slot through and slide in like so, nice and freely. Okay, so you need to do that, and again, using my kebab stick here, I'm just going to glue that, and then these parts will just come out like so. That's going to actually sit on the top of our box, so make sure that's nice and square and that that's glued properly. That is important because these are two parts going to be moving within each other. Okay, when we're happy with that, pop that to one side. What else have we got? The main shaft, again, I'm just going to glue that up. Longer side goes over the glue tab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will form our square there, like so. And then we've got the handle again. Now you've made one of these for the frog. This again is the same principle. One other thing which I didn't show you on the frog, which might just be of a little use here, I put my pencil on that just to curve the handle a wee bit, so when it wraps round it's a little bit easier to wrap it round. But apart from that, we're going to make it up the same as the frog. So it's in two halves. We're going to glue that part. Let's just do it here quickly to show you. It's a confusing shape, this, until it's all glued and comes together. So glue that part there. Let's just hold that. Try not to get too much glue on my fingers. Part in there like so. Just let that set. And then when that's setting, you can go on now and we just glue that tab here round to make our second square, as it were, there. Just fold that, and now I'm going to put a little bit more glue onto here as well, just to hold it on its way. That is going to look something like that for you. It's really, we're making a long box and it's got a cut in it. It's easier to do it now than to cut it when it's glued. That really does need to set a little bit more. So, and then when that's done, we just simply fold that part into there and glue it to make our shape like so. And then that handle will just wrap round, and I can show you, and that's our crank handle. Bring that into shot for you so it looks like that. Okay, so let's just put some glue on those bits. So when we make it up as a box like this, and then a bit of glue on the sides there, and then just hold it up into position, squeeze it. Again, make sure that's nice and dry when it sets, and then that part's just going to glue onto our mechanism. And this is our handle, and we simply just spread some glue along the length of that and just twist it round the handle here. And that just helps create a slightly more rounded shape. Pinch that and let it dry, and so that's really just, it's a cosmetic thing. Okay, pinch everything together, boom, and that will dry off, so we'll leave that to one side. Now the final bit of mechanism here, which I've left till last, is a little bit small, but you make it up just as you would any of the other boxes that we've looked at, the housing mechanisms that we'll have used for both the frog and the dog, etc. It is really just the same. Now I've gone ahead and I've just put down all of these little tabs here, and I've just stuck those down, and effectively what we're going to make up now is a rectangular box, as you can see. So it's just a case of just gluing and folding it all into position. Now I've got some glue. I'm going to use a stick because this is a little bit smaller. I've put my glue to one side, squeezed some out, and I've just put that onto a stick. So I'm going to now just glue this, put that onto there, and just work my way round as we would if we were making a box. So I'm just going to pull that up. I just rest that down. Sorry, this is a little bit awkward. I'm just trying to show you and glue at the same time. If I just pull that back, you'll see what I'm doing here. So that's the first sides of my box. And now if I just hold those into position. Now again, this is under quite a bit of strain, so just take your time, plenty of glue on there. We want this to be nice and strong, so that when it's dried, that it's not going to come to part, because this mechanism would be really tricky to get hold of once it's set in the box. So I'm going to go on now and just work my way around bit by bit, effectively just making up a box, as we can see here. So while that's just drying there, let me just show you. That part's going to come over there, and if I just fold that into there, that goes like that, and hey presto, we've got a small box that will look like that, as you can see. So I'll just go on now and glue that, but that's just to show you, very briefly guide you through. It really is very, very simple, nothing that you haven't done already. It's just a wee bit fiddly because it's a little bit smaller. So make sure all your score lines are nice and crisp, and you'll be absolutely fine with that. Just putting the last touches to the box now. That's all gluing. If you use your kebab stick, you can just press down as you go round, make sure everything's nice and firm. So this is what I call a load bearing part, so it has to be nice and strong. You don't want this coming adrift after you've glued it. So when you've made it, that's what you're going to end up with, a nice little box. Looks something like that. That's quite an essential part of the mechanism. In fact, what we're going to do next is put this all together and show you how it works.